This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for August 19, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, 84-year-old linked to Hanover double murder turns himself in and confesses. An 84-year-old man has reportedly confessed to the double murder of two elderly women in Hanover on Saturday, August 12th. The man, a farmer from Grange district in the parish and the husband of one of the victims, allegedly confessed to the crimes after days on the run. Retiree Patty Allen was found in her Kendall district home around 5 p.m. by a family member who alerted the Lucy police. She was rushed to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. 2 hours later, tragedy struck again when Tika Anderson Nesbeth, 73, was found dead in her residence by a relative. She was stabbed in the head. It was later revealed that Nesbeth was Allen's caregiver. The killer reportedly fled the scene of both murders, but according to the police, the elderly man turned himself into the Lucy police on Friday, August 18. After being legally cautioned, he confessed to the murder of both women, shedding light on the tragic incidents that officers say seemed connected from the start. Body of man found in car, suicide suspected. The St. Catherine South police are investigating a case of suspected suicide after the body of a man was found inside a vehicle along a roadway in the Lake Spen area. The deceased has been identified as Kirk Malabver, 47, of a Portmore address. According to reports reaching the news, citizens in the Lake Spen area saw a Honda CR-V along the roadway in the vicinity of West Simcoe at about 5 a.m. on Saturday and alerted the police. Upon the arrival of law enforcers, the man's body was discovered with what appeared to be a wound to his head. A firearm and one spent casing were also reportedly seen on one of the seats inside the vehicle. Woman arrested in St. James operation involving U.S. Homeland Security agents. Agents from the United States Homeland Security have joined local law enforcement in an intensified crackdown on illicit lottery scamming activities in western Jamaica over the last 48 hours. Their activities led to the arrest of a 22-year-old woman for suspected breaches of the Law Reform, Fraudulent Transactions Special Provisions Act during an operation in Bobman Hill Rose Hall in St. James. The Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force says US $15,700 was found during a search of her home along with a laptop and a cellular phone. Detectives reportedly found lottery scamming paraphernalia when they analyzed the devices. The devices were then seized. The CCU says the woman was unable to account for the money found in her possession and it was also seized. 72-year-old man charged for killing 59-year-old sister in St. Anne. A 72-year-old man was on Thursday charged for the killing of his 59-year-old sister in Discovery Bay, St. Anne last weekend. Stanley Brady, an electrician from Portmore, St. Catherine, was charged with the killing of Lynette Brady from Thicket Avenue in Discovery Bay. The two reportedly had a dispute over land at the sister's house on August 12 around 6:10 p.m. During the dispute, the police said the woman was stabbed with a knife and chopped with a machete. It was further reported that when residents learned of the incident, the brother was set upon by an angry mob which inflicted several wounds to his body. The police were called to the scene and the brother was rescued from the mob. The sister was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. The brother was hospitalized on the police guard. Brady is charged with murder based on statements posited and after a question and answer session. No court date was given for the accused. St. Anne man stabbed to death at home. A St. Anne man was stabbed to death at his home in Ridge District on Friday morning. The deceased has been identified as 55-year-old Errol Cameron. Reports from the Key Valley Police are that about 2:40 a.m., lawmen were summoned to the home to quell a family dispute. Upon their arrival, Cameron was seen lying on a bed with stab wounds as well as other injuries to his body. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. No further details surrounding the incidents were provided. Investigations are ongoing. Burn victim Akelia Dunkley back home following treatment overseas. It's home sweet home for 14-year-old burn victim Akelia Dunkley, who is now back on Jamaican soil after receiving medical care in the United States. The schoolgirl was on Friday discharged from the Joseph M. Stillburn Center in Augustus, Georgia, where she successfully completed 7 surgeries. She arrived with her father, Rupima Dunkley, at the Sangster International Airport in St. James on Saturday after spending 2 months in hospital. Akelia told the news, "I am feeling fine," when asked about her thoughts on being back home. Rupima Dunkley, her father, said, "I am glad that she is back home. The feeling is great to know that I could come back down and assist in her recovery. I want to give thanks to the medical team, both overseas and here, and all those that contributed to make this possible." Akelia sustained mostly second-degree burns, which affected 50% of her body during a gas stove explosion at her home in burnt Savannah, St. Elizabeth on Friday, June 16. Some US $45,000 was raised to fly her to the United States for further treatment. Akelia was first taken to the University Hospital of the West Indies for treatment and will continue receiving treatment for her recovery there. Peacock to probe incident in which Jamaican-born visitor threatened with arrest. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency is investigating an incident at Norman Manley International Airport in the early hours of last Friday, August 11, where a Jamaican national entering the country was threatened by an immigration officer with a possible arrest. Andrew Winter, head of Peacock, told the news that an investigation has been launched to determine the course of action to be taken. "I am aware of the incident. I got the email from the offended visitor and reached out to apologize. We are investigating the incident. We need to be able to de-escalate incidents, and if training is warranted, we will undertake such action," he said. Dr. Russell White, a deputy superintendent of schools in Brooklyn, New York, outlined in an email to Winter that she and her 24-year-old son arrived at the airport at 3 p.m. on Friday, August 11. She noted that after deplaning and upon arrival at the immigration section of the airport, they proceeded to the kiosk as she normally does on arrival to the island. She said that on this occasion, the kiosk was not working. "I was met by a male agent who asked for my passport that he scanned. When the machine didn't work, he said rudely, 'How did you get to this kiosk?' I answered that I walked over to it like I normally do in the past. He asked, 'Did I invite you to the kiosk?' I said no. I didn't see you or anyone else to direct anyone as to where to go. He rudely said, 'Get to the back of the line.' When my son and I walked to the line, we realized that the line went all the way back to the hallways as the people had amassed since we deplaned," her email stated. She said that the officers acted very unprofessionally and were rude. "I arrived in the country of my birth with my son, who had not visited Jamaica for some 10 years, and this treatment is absolutely unacceptable, unwarranted, and unfortunate because that experience will forever be etched in my son's memory," she said. She said that she shared with another agent, who was said to be a nurse, that she was recovering from COVID-19 3 weeks now and wished to stand off to the side and wait until it was our turn to be processed. We ended up standing in the line that said special services. The supervisor came over to my son and I and said my son and I cannot be in the line because we would not be processed. I walked off that line and waited over to the side so as not to be in the community with 300 to 400 passengers who were not socially distanced. He said he would not speak to me if I don't get on the line, she said. She said that after waiting for more than an hour, the immigration officer rudely told us he would not process us together and for me to back away from her desk. I asked what was the problem. My son and I are traveling together. He became irate and said that he won't process any of us. My son then told him he would back off so that I can be processed. I handed him my passport and immigration form and rested my phone on the counter. He asked whose phone it was and I told him it was mine. He then said, "You need to turn your phone off." I showed him the phone and said it's off and has been off. He again became irate and began berating me, saying that he will not process my documents, and then called my son up to be processed. My son went up, handed him his passport and form, and asked the officer "Why are you disrespecting my mother like that?" He responded, "Your mother is rude and has an attitude." She said that when her son questioned the treatment being meted out by the officer, he came from behind the desk in a confrontational manner, asking what he was going to do about it. She said that the officer approached her son and she had to de-escalate the situation. He began a tirade of how I think I'm special and who told me I was special. He threatened that he was going to land my son and charge him for being disrespectful. He took my son's documents and went into a room to his supervisor. When he came out, he asked if I was born in Jamaica, and I responded yes. He shared that he can land me and send my son back to New York. I told him that he can send us both back because I would not have my son return to New York without going with him, she recounted. He then went back to the room and the supervisor called my son into the room. She spoke to my son and told him that he is to apologize to the officer. My son shared that he has no problem apologizing to him, but that he too owed me an apology for being disrespectful. I am concerned that had I not known Jamaica and was a first-time visitor, that would be the lasting impression that I have. I am requesting a retraining of all immigration officers, but particularly for the officer and the supervisor, to create a welcoming and affirming environment when individuals visit this country. Tourism is a large part of the economy of Jamaica, and these experiences will greatly deter visitors, she said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.